it'll be from Soul Center OC.
We have our Soul Center time.
We did. We didn't do anything. We're going to have a big picture, you know, and we're going to write and send things and encourage and hopefully even go over there. Some sharing that we'll get today from Dr. Dolma will tell you how much that is. And we're so, so grateful to have you guys, for us to participate in. You've opened our hearts hugely, and it's been an unbelievable experience. Thank you very much.
Let's give them all their prayers,
Okay.
and then we'll have Dr. Terry come up first.
This is Dr. Okay. This is Mrs. Terry. I always say it wrong. She is the senior astrologer for the Dalai Lama, and she gave us all some amazing readings, didn't you? That was unbelievable. I mean, all of us who could participate in that. You're such a sweet, beautiful, beautiful soul. Thank you so much. Dr. Dolma. Hello. And she's a personal physician to the Dalai Lama.
I'm not a personal physician to the Dalai Lama. I'm a small doctor working in his institute.
Oh, I thought they said a personal physician. Okay. But it doesn't matter. You're wonderful. Totally wonderful. So embrace and has just channeled and practiced the ancient Tibetan medicine in such ways. And we were looking at your books that you had Friday night. They're so amazing, and they're written how many years ago? 8th century. They didn't have x-rays, they didn't have, you know, anything, and yet they know how to diagnose and treat. I mean, it's just amazing, and we had a beautiful experience. So now I'll be quiet and you guys talk.
So we wanted to just give them a chance to speak a couple minutes, because we want you to be able to be blessed by their beautiful consciousness. So just send your open heart and love to them as they share a little bit.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much. I see a lot of familiar faces here already. So it's such a pleasure. I'm Terry again, and I had the wonderful opportunity to go to India last year and to speak at a conference that's been started by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And I'm not Buddhist. I don't know anyone. I've never been to India. But the God of my understanding, I'm a Christian, but the God of my understanding opened up an opportunity for me to go. And I went. And I had an amazing, transformative time. And I was able to spend time at the Institute and been asked to come back again this October. And I'm very, very excited about that. What especially is touching today, with our guests come up, is it being Father's Day. We had a chance to go to the large orphanage there in Dharamsala, which is up in the Himalayan mountains. And this group of orphanages was started by the Dalai Lama's older sister many years ago. She passed away early in life with breast cancer in her early 40s. And his younger sister took up the cause and continued to carry this organization forward. So what I want to offer you is a new organization. I am a person who's had the good fortune of helping open 10 different treatment centers from scratch, from an idea, from people who came to me with a yellow pad and pencil and said, I want to open a center that helps people in this way. So I absolutely understand the embryonic process of growth and development and what it takes to keep it going and keep it moving and keep believing. So I give you so much credit. I'm very, very excited. And to tell you that yesterday and the day before, that your organization brought forth almost $10,000. A new organization, it's unbelievable. And for $40 a month, one is able to sponsor a child. So $10,000 brings a child from all the way up until they are ready to step out and have their own life and their own experience. So on Father's Day, as you reflect on your own fathers, or the absence of your father, or your Holy Father, or the father you wished you had, or the one that you got and you wish you had somebody else. As she's going to speak about the masculine energy today, call forth the part of you that is a father to the people that you know, even for the women. You know, I'm a physician. I don't have children. My patients have been my children, and they've been my teachers. Been in practice for 25 years. I've had around 30,000 patients now. So 30,000 people have come to me in their moment of pain. One after the other. If you can imagine what kind of work you do, that every hour the person sits in front of you is in searing emotional pain. That is challenging and it is extraordinary. Because if I'm having a difficult time and I listen to someone who's having a more difficult time, it gives me perspective. If I am able to share a piece of my own life journey and it helps somebody turn a corner, get through one more time, that's a blessing. When I was a young doctor, I had a woman come to me and she had 3 children, all had severe disabilities. And she had a horrible, horrible panic disorder and was housebound. And her husband had moved them here from Texas to California. And so she had to leave her friends, left her safe space, and here she was with these 3 disabled children in a foreign community. And she came in for an appointment, and I listened to her story. I was a young doctor. I was probably 27, 28, just getting started. I had not a clue what to say to her. But you know what happened? My intuition said, I can be with you in your journey. Can't make your children not safe. Can't take away your panic disorder. I can help you. I can journey with you. I can bear witness to your story. And I learned early on the power of the bearing of witness. Never underestimate the power of bearing witness. So part of what I was able to do when I went to India was to bear witness to people who have extraordinary suffering. In the midst of extraordinary meager means, I saw joyful children, playing children, happy children. We went into one classroom, and the teacher said, because there were some visitors from the United States, and she said, now, who wants to get up and sing a song? All the children were so embarrassed and stuff, no one wanted to. And so finally she got these 2 young boys to come up. They're probably 3rd graders, I guess. And so they came up and they held hands, and they sang us a Disney song. Now, Disney all over the world, huh? Can't get away from it. Cannot get away from Disney. The one thing is the children were laughing and smiling. And I made me think, you know, I don't laugh and smile as often as I should. I'm a very, very, very fortunate person. I have resources. I have tons of people that love me and think I'm great and are willing to, you know, be there for me if I need them. I'm so fortunate. And this was a beautiful reminder that all around the world are people who just need someone to, 1, bear witness, 2, to pray for them, and 3, to be generous. So this is a wonderful chance to have them come and they're going to just tell you a little bit about themselves. Thank you so much for your most generous donations to the organization. I think it's going to be amazing to have a child that your organization will follow, and you guys will write and send messages and blessings. And so thank you very, very, very much. It's a pleasure.
It's been an honor.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for giving us the honor to be in your presence and sharing this wonderful place. It means a lot to us, me and my friend both. And we're here representing a small community and a small ethical identity. Probably some would like to be more technical versed. So we are ultimately the same human being as you are. And I'm very thankful to Dr. Terry and Berta for coming up with this beautiful idea, the Prayer for Compassion initiative, which has a very noble motivation of modus operandi to go forward, to help somebody in an alien land and who desperately need help. And some of you, as I've seen yesterday, down at the gala event, that you had heard a little bit about what TCV, Tibetan Children Village School, actually is. It gives education, food, accommodation, and a path in their life to be their own self, to be a human being in its own self, and walk through the broad freeway of the life and be of service to other beings. And if possible, service to the world, population, and if not, at least in our community. So I can probably say that I'm a testimony of this good work. I grew up in an orphanage at a very tender age of 4, got free education from such a similar institute, and grew under very loving foster parents, who I still remember. Once when I was probably in 5th grade, I had a strong problem. I don't know, maybe it was diarrhea or something, because it's prevalent there. So I was hospitalized in a hospital, school medicine, allopathic hospital, which is run by a Catholic church. And our homes is on this corner of the small town, whereas the hospital is at another end. So when somebody has to go and visit that hospital, it's almost 1.5 hour walking. So I remember when I was lying in that hospital for nearly 10 days, so I could all the time hear the clicking sound of the slipper of my foster mother. You know why? Because every day, she's a foster mother. With her own meager salary, she buys special food and comes to see me in that hospital, walking 1.5 hours, carrying a flask of milk and something nice to eat, and spending the same 1.5 hour going back and helping the rest of the children. We are like 40 children in one home, and the institute where I grew up is Tibetan Foundation, which is similar to Tibetan Children Village School. So we have 31 homes and smaller 12 SOS homes. So like she goes back and then again has to attend to the rest of the 39 children who are in the home. So I'm blessed, of course. I was taken far from my biological parents, not because they don't love me, probably because they love me too much. They are ready to hear the separation and make sure that I get education and not end up like them, working from 8 in the morning till late night, working so hard till the back aches, till the legs feel lifeless. So I feel the love even in the separation, and I feel joy of having the love from foster parents who are not definitely connected biologically, but spiritually and very strongly from the karma. So, Dr. Terry, I want to thank you so much for having the courage, determination, and this thoughtfulness of connecting to somebody whom you have no obligation at all. Like what we do for our fellow Tibetans, we have an obligation because we have the same race, same color, same small eyes. And nose, yeah, but the cheeks, and well, still then, I see this wonderful, wonderful person without any connection, without any obligation, moral responsibility. They're just plunging themselves into this ocean of desperation, at least to help somebody bring out of this stage of drowning. So we Tibetans are almost in a capsized boat. Our culture, our language, a very sense of spiritualism. The very identity of Tibetan is Buddhist philosophy. It's in a stage, very critical stage, where inside Tibet is almost in a complete annihilation, and in the diaspora. Of course, we had a good fortune with the grace of His Holiness and Minister Buddha like Dr. Terry around the world, yeah, that we have a small space to preserve it, but still then with strong influence of distractions and assimilation of a wide culture that we all are exposed to. We, Tibetans living in a diaspora, also are subjected under the shallow threat of a culture being diluted and distorted. So your kind help in helping these people to live in a school where they are nurtured, they are taken care of, they are fed, and made to stand up on their feet and supported all through to continue the further study in their field of interest and expertise, and ultimately coming back and facing the very future generation and extending their hand to help raise another children. So wonderful job Dr. Harry and Dr. are doing. And I also thank all the people, directly and indirectly, who have contributed, even those very individuals who may not have financially or in a strong step have put the effort, but at least their presence here, presence for the yesterday's gala event, it means a lot to us. Your generosity is immensely felt and appreciated deeply from the very, very essence of us. So I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. And I think since this is a place of worship, being a follower of Buddhism, I think it's important I share a little bit about Tibetan Buddhism. If you're not bored, provided you give me the time. So Buddhism can be seen from 3 different angles, because I met somebody who wanted to hear a little bit about what His Holiness the Dalai Lama talks about Buddhism. So Buddhism can be viewed, let's say you have a pot lighted with a candle and you have 3 holes in there. So all these 3 holes have a different shape. So Buddhism from one angle, from one hole, you can see it as a religion where strong belief system is demanded. And from the second hole of angle, you can see Buddhism as a philosophy, because Buddhism philosophy is a philosophy which is based on many of the factors that brings and tells us about the reality of life, reality of the universe. And the third angle, or the whole hot holes that you see, is to see the Buddhism as a science, because Buddhism actually talks about understanding the very nature of human beings and other beings, and the very space that we use for our survival. So most importantly, Buddhism talks very strongly about mind. And literally, when we say religion in Tibetan language, we say chö, channel chose chö. So chö means it's chöba. That means to apply remedy. And to apply remedy is nothing but transforming the mind, is understanding the mind. So when we look into the aspect of mind and mental factors, then you can use Buddhism as a science. Okay? And the very essence of Buddhism can be condensed into 2 verses. It says, "Tenjing dewa chungwaka, teni tongwa nidushe, teni tene tabate, teni ume mami kanji. Tenjo mayiba, choga yoba mayinde, teche tongyi mayinde, choga yoba mayinde." It means anything that arises from interdependence has a wisdom of emptiness. Therefore, anything that is interdependence is achieved through the method of the middle path. So here, Buddhism talks about the interdependence, the emptiness nature, and the middle path. So you see the wisdom and method and the ultimate reality. So some of you must be a little bit fearful when I say emptiness. When we talk about emptiness, we do not talk about complete nihilism. We do not mean nihilism. We do not mean we are not there. What we mean in emptiness is that nothing is possible without cause and condition and the role of cause and effect factor. And we say that how we see ourselves, that big I, that big ego that we see, and that big attachment whom we extend to to that object of liking, and strong devotion which we harbor to that object of dislike is nothing but lack of true intrinsic nature in itself. So we are all dependent on each other. Be it food, be it clothing, be it very existence. The whole universe is nothing but based on the interdependence. So therefore, what Reverend Michael was telling us this morning, we had the good fortune to be at the Agova Center this morning. Beautiful, just beautiful, just beautiful. It touched the very string of my soul. I'm so happy to be there because so distinct and so integrated, and so specific, but so much wholeness, because it imbibed every belief, every being. So ultimately, of course, you speak about not shrinking ourselves to expanding ourselves. That's so beautiful. And he very strongly speaks about exercising and extasis. And very much in Tibetan Buddhism, we say we have to exercise to transform our mind. Thereby, we have to extort the negativity that is eating within us. And how to do this transformation of the mind? Tibetan Buddhism has many, many ways, many approaches to go and transform the mind. And before actually transforming the mind, we need to understand what mind actually is. How we perceive mind, how we color mind, how we distinguish the shape of the mind. What are the intonation and indentation of the mind? We need to get ourselves acquainted with that. That's where the Buddhist philosophy lies. And that's where the beauty of Buddhism really is. Not in the belief system of the wonderful bells and the tangle of the conches and the singing bowls. That's probably what Western people, mostly, I don't say all, mostly believe what Buddhism actually is. So Buddhism actually is to transform the mind into positivity and to shun away the negativity. And in this path of transformation, we have the most simplest is the 8 verses of training the mind. And I will not take much time, but I think it is my moral duty to, of course, I can't just change whole your color, but I would be very fortunate. I feel myself very fortunate and justice for the space and time that your soul center has provided to us, because I'll be very brief. And when we talk about 8 verses on training the mind, we say that's very short, but that's very strong. So please permit me to use this piece of paper, because of course I know the verses by heart, but I need to be sure, because you know, my main work is translating, so I need to be really loyal in the translation, and I'm a person who believes in real specification. So in the first verses of Training the Mind, it says, it says that look at all individuals as a wish-fulfilling jewel. That when you have a wish-fulfilling jewel in your hand, you will take care of it with the greatest possibility. So look at every being as with the same reverence and same respect as a wish-fulfilled jewel, which you would always keep close to your heart. So in this way, it shows us how to respect others. Like in the Bible, it says, love others like thou love thyself. Yeah? So the second verse says, whenever you come across a person, always look to them with reference, and always make and find the lower place for yourself and give the upper place to the other. With this, it helps to control your ego. So once your ego is controlled, you feel all the space is so easy to dwell in. Everything looks so flexible. Once you're so much stunned, so much pumped up with ego, then nothing gets into your heart. We have a beautiful saying It says a bowl of arrogance is never able to absorb a drop of wisdom. So like a ball, you sprinkle with water, the water will fall down. So if you're pumped up, inflated with ego and vanity, then no wisdom will ever stick to you. And the third verse it says, the very moment, the very instant, the afflictive emotion, the negative thought comes into your mind, challenge it like an adversary and immediately stop that negative thought, that afflictive emotions to ever enter your mind. So with this, you protect yourself from negative influences and negative thought. And the fourth verse says, whenever you come across a person of hostile nature, of a mean demeanor, or you come across a situation where you are really trodden down with suffering and pain, then look at it as a real eye-opener and take it as it's something you really want, as if you have found a million. I would not say $1 million because you don't have $100 notes. Yeah? So because if you see $100 notes, you won't take time to pick it up. So therefore, whenever you come across such a turbulation or complication or predicament in your life, then take no chance to grab it as a very precious thing that you just found lying on the lake. And the fifth verse says, if somebody out of jealousy causes harm to you, make you or belittles you, or like try to taint you with all the negativity, take the harm, take the blame, take the influences, take the losses, and give the winning spot to others. Because all the war in this world is winning and losing. So once you give the winning card to the other and take the losing card to yourself, then there's no war. Then the other is happy because you win. And you are happy because others are not causing you trouble. So that's the secret of keeping you away from trouble. Okay? And the sixth verse is, so it says that like if there's a person whom you have benefited a lot and you wish that somebody would do the same to you, at that time you should look at them as a great master, because that help you to get rid of your expectation. And much of the problem in this world comes from hope and expectation and doubt and delusion. And I would be very quickly with these last two verses. That is on a very strong practice of giving and taking. It says, ultimately, whatever benefit that you have done, give the credit to all those beings, starting from your mothers to the rest of the world, so that as an homage, as an obligation, in this way you can do the giving and take all the negativity of your friends, of your parents, of your neighbors, of your community to yourself. And the last verse says that when you practice any spiritualism, don't go for conventional or superficial act. As soon as you realize the prayers, the worship, and visiting the church, and all this, even working as a volunteer in a charity home, go there with your heart, not with a conventional or superficial manner that you are just going there to earn some name or even to find a place for yourself in a community. So do it from the very soul. With this essence, it tells us about how you can train your mind, thereby you get rid of all the negativity and all the ego and all these evil forces that are around you. And as I represent Tibetan medicine, it's important for me to say one word from, if you culminate practice of Tibetan medicine on the spiritual path, It says 무슨 속을 떠돌아다니다 루멘 때문에 중심 한번 좀 따라 판다도 참에 전주점이 숨기게. It says look at the tiny insects as if you're looking at oneself. Even to the greatest adversary, speak with the utmost possibility of lovingness. And through this, generate the true extreme feeling of love and compassion. Thank you very much.
By this illustrious group.
And Jessica.
Will we hear, it was a little demanding.
Yeah.